Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. I am Miss Nargis Fatma, lecturer from Zoology Department, Pyas College Kasur, as a co-teacher of course Evolution and Principles of Systematics. Main teacher is Dr. Muhammad Mudassar Shahzad from Division of Science and Technology, University of Education, Lahore. Our today's topic is Trends and Rates in Evolution. All the rights of this lecture are transferred to the University of Education, Lahore. Now let's start the lecture. Now before starting the lecture, have a look at the outline of today's lecture. Number 1 is Trends of Evolution. Number 2 is Doddle's Law of Irreversibility. Number 3 is Coop's Law. Number 4 is Gauss's rules or exclusion principle. Number 5 is Boltzmann's rule. Number 6 is rate of evolutionary change. Number 7 is technique that is used to explain the rate of evolutionary change. And the last one is the two hypotheses to explain the rate of evolutionary change. Now I will discuss about Dollo's law of irreversibility. It was first proposed in 1890 by French-born Belgian engineer and paleontologist Louis Dollo, 1857 to 1931, and further elaborated into the status of a proposed law in his 1893 article known as the Law of Evolution. Dollo stated that an organism cannot return, even partially, to a previous state that realized in its ancestral series. इसका मतलब ये है कि कोई भी ऑर्गेनिज्म है वो रिटर्न नहीं हो सकती इवन कि पार्शली अपनी प्रीवियस हालत में जो कि वो अपनी इंसेस्ट्रल सीरीज से लेकर आई है और इसी कंसेप्ट और इसी लॉ को हम कहते हैं डोलूज लॉ ऑफ इरिवर्सिबिलिटी कि कोई भी प्रोसेस जो है एवोल्यूशन का वो रिवर्स नहीं हो सकता. Accordingly, most evolutionists believe that evolution simply proceeds forward. और यही वजह है कि ज़्यादा जो evolutionists हैं वो आज इस बात पे बिलीव करते हैं कि जो evolution है वो simply एक forward process है, तो reverse नहीं हो सकता. For organisms with a membrane-bound nucleus, they hold that the operation of natural processes is sufficient to account for the diversity of organisms, genes and traits. इसका मतलब ये है कि organisms जो कि membrane bound nucleus रखते हैं वो अपने processes को अच्छे तरीके से manage कर सकते हैं to account for the diversity of organisms, genes and traits जो कि फिर आगे बहुत effective होता है for the evolution of organisms. They believe there is no specific course that evolution is ordained to follow, but once it proceeds, there is essentially no reverse evolution. इसका मतलब ये है कि एक दफ़ा जो एवोल्यूशन का प्रोसेस है वो स्टार्ट हो जाए, प्रोसीड कर जाए, तो देयर इज नो एसेंशियली रिवर्स एवोल्यूशन, तो रिवर्स एवोल्यूशन का प्रोसेस नहीं होता. Hooke's law. Evolutionary trends towards an increase in body size are common in fossil record. For example, the Eocene ancestors of modern horses. आप इस डायग्राम में देख सकते हैं अगर हम बात करें मॉडर्न हॉर्सेस की तो मॉडर्न हॉर्सेस का साइज लार्ज है एज कंपेयर टू देयर प्रिमिटिव एंसेस्टर्स जो कि 60 मिलियन ईयर्स अगो एक्सटिंक्ट हो चुके हैं और इनका जो साइज था वो स्मॉल था एज आप कह सकते हैं कि नॉर्मल डॉग की तरह. और आजकल के अगर हॉर्सेस को देखें तो देखिए ये ग्रेजुअली जो हैं वो इवॉल्व होते गए और 10 टाइम्स बिगर इनका साइज है एज कंपेयर टू देयर प्रिमिटिव एंसेस्टर्स नोन एज ईओसी. Now we will discuss about the advantages of being big. Number 1 is improved ability to capture prey, e.g. lions, or to escape predation, e.g. dinosaurs or elephants. Number 2 is greater reproductive success, sexual selection. Number 3 is increased intelligence. Brain size relates to body size, जैसे कि हम human beings में देखते हैं और chimpanzees में देखते हैं. Number 4 is expanded size range of acceptable food. e.g. giraffe, elephants. Number 5 is decreased animal mortality as a result of the above. Number 6 is extended individual longevity. Lifespan relates broadly to body size. Number 7 is increased heat retention per unit volume, that is known as Boltzmann's rule. Now I will discuss about the disadvantages of being large in size. Particularly, the large animals require a great deal of food, like elephants have to migrate huge distances merely to find enough food. In addition, large animal size is clearly exposed to predators than a relatively lineage of smaller animals. Now I will discuss about Gauss's rule or exclusion principle. If two species have almost completely overlapping niches, they cannot continue to coexist. If one of the two species will overcome the other and persist, the other will go locally extinct. The classic experiments were by Gauss using two species of Paramecium, i.e. Paramecium cordatum and Paramecium aurelia. When cultured separately in the yeast medium, P. aurelia was found to have faster rate of increase than P. cordatum. When both species were added to the same culture vessel, P. aurelia dominated the mixture and eventually P. cordatum died out. इसका मतलब क्या है कि जब जो है सेपरेटली इन दोनों स्पीशीज को ग्रो किया गया तो इन दोनों में से पी ऑरेलिया जो है उसने फास्टर रेट पे ग्रो किया और इंक्रीज किया, लेकिन जब इन दोनों स्पीशीज को सेम कल्चर वेसल में ऐड किया गया तो ये चीज़ देखने में आई कि पी ऑरेलिया ने मिक्सचर को डोमिनेट किया और उसके रिजल्ट में जो पी कोडेटम था इवेंचुअली डाइड आउट. Now I will discuss about Boltzmann's rule. In this rule, we study the effect of temperature on size of an animal. For example, the birds and mammals of colder areas are large in size as compared to their equivalents in warmer area. Again, to reduce their surface area to volume ratio. There is some evidence to support Boltzmann's rule. For example, polar bears are much larger than spectacled bears which live closer to the equator, and a number of animals do develop size variation both within species and in closely related species which can be correlated to geographical isolations. In this diagram, you can see the size of the polar bears. Rate of evolutionary change. Rate of evolution is a measurement of the rate of genotype change of species and organisms over a period. Evolutionary change can be estimated by examining fossils and species that are related to each other. हम जब एवोल्यूशन के प्रोसेस को देखना चाहते हैं तो हम फोसिल्स की स्टडी करते हैं और फोसिल्स की स्टडी से हमें ये पता चलता है कि जो एनिमल्स हैं उनमें सिमिलैरिटीज़ के बारे में भी हम जानते हैं और उनकी डाइवर्सिटी जो लाइफ की थी उसके बारे में भी हमें पता चलता है. और इसके अलावा ये भी पता चलता है कि कौन से जो फॉर्म्स ऑफ एनिमल्स हैं, काइंड्स ऑफ एनिमल्स हैं जो कि अब एक्सटिंक्ट हो चुके हैं. Now I will discuss about the technique used to examine the rate of evolutionary change. DNA analysis is the technology that involves identifying the percentage of similarity between samples of DNA from two related organisms under study. Many evolutionists study changes in animal structure and function that are observable on a large scale. For example, changes in the shape of a bird's bill or in the length of an animal's neck. All evolutionary change, however, results from changes in the base sequence in DNA and amino acids in proteins. Molecular evolutionists investigate evolutionary relationships among organisms by studying DNA and proteins. For example, cytochrome C is a protein present in the cellular respiration pathways in all eukaryotic organisms. Organisms that other research has shown to be closely related have similar cytochrome molecules. That cytochrome C has changed so little during hundreds of years, millions of years, suggest that mutations of cytochrome C gene are nearly always detrimental and are selected against. Because it has changed so little, cytochrome C is said to have been conserved evolutionarily. Not all proteins are conserved as rigorously as cytochrome C. Although variation in highly conserved proteins can help establish evolutionary relationships among distantly related organisms, less conserved proteins are useful for looking at relationships among more closely related animals. Because some proteins are conserved and others are not, the best information regarding evolutionary relationships requires comparing as many as proteins as possible in two species. इसका मतलब ये है कि क्योंकि बहुत से प्रोटीन्स हैं ज़्यादातर तो कंजर्व हो चुके और कुछ जो हैं वो कंजर्व नहीं हुए, तो फिर करेक्ट इन्फॉर्मेशन के लिए बेहतर ये है कि मैक्सिमम किसी भी दो स्पीशीज़ के जो प्रोटीन्स हैं उनको आपस में कंपेयर कर लिया जाए। अगर हम बात करें एग्जांपल जैसे मैंने अभी आपको बताई थी साइटोक्रोम सी की, तो ह्यूमंस और चिंपैंजीज जो हैं उनकी जब स्टडी और उनको कंपेयर किया एज विद ईच अदर, तो हमें पता चला कि दे आर क्लोजली रिलेटेड टू ईच अदर। इसका मतलब ये है कि ह्यूमंस एंड चिंपैंजीज बिलोंग्स टू द सेम और कॉमन ancestor. So the greater the similarity, the more have the chances from a common ancestor. Now I will discuss gene duplication. Recall that mutations are selected against. Sometimes an extra copy of a gene is present. One copy may be modified, but as long as the second copy furnishes the essential protein, the organism is likely to survive. Gene duplication, the accidental duplication of a gene on a chromosome, is one way that extra genetic material can arise. Vertebrate hemoglobin and myoglobin are believed to have arisen from a common ancestral molecule. As you know, hemoglobin carries oxygen in red blood cells, and myoglobin is an oxygen storage molecule in muscles. The ancestral molecule probably carried out both functions. However, about 1 billion years ago, gene duplication followed by mutation of one gene resulted in the formation of two polypeptides, i.e., myoglobin and hemoglobin. Further gene duplication over the last 500 million years probably explain why most vertebrates, other than primitive fishes, have hemoglobin molecules consisting of four polypeptides. Now I will discuss about mosaic evolution. As discussed earlier, rates of evolution can vary both in populations and in molecules and structures. A species is a mosaic of different molecules and structures that have evolved at different rates. Some molecules or structures are conserved in evolution, others change more rapidly. The basic design of a bird provides a simple example. All birds are easily recognizable as birds because of highly conserved structures such as feathers, bills, and a certain body form. Particular parts of birds, however, are less conservative and have a higher rate of change. Wings have been modified for hovering, soaring, and swimming. Similarly, legs have been modified for wading, swimming, and perching. These are the examples of mosaic evolution. Now I will discuss about the two hypotheses that explain the rate of evolutionary change. There are two ways in which the evolution of a species occurs. Number one is gradualism, and number two is punctuated equilibrium hypothesis. A species can evolve by only one of these or by both. Now I will discuss about the concept of gradualism. It is the selection and variation that happens more gradually over a short period of time. It is hard to notice. Small variations that fit an organism slightly better to its environment are selected. A few more individuals with more of the helpful traits survive and a few more less of the helpful trait die. जैसा कि चार्ल्स डार्विन ने भी जो है ऑब्जर्व किया कि इस किस्म की जो एवोल्यूशनरी चेंजेस है, एवोल्यूशनरी प्रोसेस है, वो मिलियंस ऑफ ईयर्स से जारी है और इस कंसेप्ट को हम कहते हैं फाइलेटिक ग्रेजुअलिज्म। और ये एक ट्रेडिशनल इंटरप्रिटेशन है जो एक्सप्रेस द रेट और टेम्पो ऑफ एवोल्यूशन। ग्रेजुअल जो मैकेनिज्म है, हाइपोथेसिस है, इट इज़ वेरी ग्रेजुअली occurring process over time that population changes, i.e., changes slow, and but it is constant. Now I will discuss about the punctuated equilibrium hypothesis. This is a period of very rapid change, and then one or few huge changes occur, often through mutations in the genes of a few individuals. Mutations are random changes in the DNA that are not inherited from the previous generation but are passed on to the generations that follow. Though mutations are often harmful, the mutations that result in punctuated equilibrium are very harmful to the individuals in their environments. But these mutations are so different and so helpful to the survival of those that have them. The proportion of individuals in a population who have the mutation or trait and those who do not change a lot over a very short period of time. इसका मतलब ये है कि जो म्यूटेशंस आ रही होती हैं पंक्चुएटेड इक्विलिब्रियम हाइपोथेसिस में, वो किसी भी मेजर क्राइसिस, इकोलॉजिकल क्राइसिस की वजह से हो सकती हैं, वो कोई क्लाइमेट चेंज हो सकती है या मेजर जियोलॉजिकल इवेंट हो सकता है। और ये जब जियोलॉजिकल इवेंट क्राइसिस अगर करता है तब तो म्यूटेशंस जो है डिसएडवांटेजेस होती हैं, लेकिन बाद में ये एडवांटेजेस हो जाती हैं और रिजल्ट करती हैं न्यू हैबिटेट्स कि वो अवेलेबल हो जाए। इसके अलावा बायोलॉजिस्ट ने जो है वो स्टडी की है स्मॉल पॉपुलेशंस में रैपिड चेंजेस। मिसाल के तौर पर रैपिड पेस्टिसाइड एंड एंटीबायोटिक रेजिस्टेंस दैट इंसेक्ट एंड पेस्ट बैक्टीरिया दैट insect pests and bacteria acquire. In addition, in a series of studies over a 20-year period, Peter R. Grant has shown that natural selection results in rapid morphological changes in the bills of Galapagos finches. इसके अलावा अगर हम बात करें एडवांटेज की, तो पंक्चुएटेड इक्विलिब्रियम मॉडल का जो एडवांटेज है वो ये है कि इट्स एक्सप्लेनेशन फॉर द फॉसिल रिकॉर्ड not always showing transitional stage between related organisms. Now let's have a comparison of phyletic gradualism and punctuated equilibrium in three hypothetical species of beetle. In a phyletic gradualism hypothesis, you can see that the change is gradual over millions of years. It is slow, continuous change in color and marking patterns. Transitional fossils show a continuous range of phenotype. Now, if we talk about punctuated high equilibrium, the change is rapid over thousands of years. Transitional fossils are unlikely. And you can also see that the tree implies that the color and marking patterns in the beetle change rapidly and did not change significantly during the long periods of stabilization selection, that is status. That's all about today's lecture. Thank you. Thank you. And that's all about today's lecture.